Everyone, good afternoon and good evening to all our attendees. A number of you have probably just avoided the traffic jam or still in jam or on your mobile devices, or you're resting at home. Thank you for logging into the Antigua and Barbuda Citizenship webinar. You hear from our distinguished guest. We're quite pleased actually to have them here. And also please make sure you type in as many questions as you want, as it's very difficult to get hold of these distinguished speakers. So you have a question icon, please press that icon and type in your questions. Just to let you know, we've received a number of questions prior to going live, and we will try to answer as many questions as possible. I'm sure you want to hear from our speakers. Just to introduce myself, Sam Hussein, Director of BLS. We specialize in knowledge and content sharing when it comes to citizenship and residency. And personally myself, I've been to the beautiful island, and I can personally say it is paradise, and I'm sure you want to hear it from firsthand because they're actually based there. And being locked down here, I'm just constantly jealous and seeing all these wonderful images and how they are living their life in the Caribbean. Okay, without further ado, firstly, you're going to hear from Miss Charmaine Quinland-Donovan. She's the first national of Antigua and Barbuda and the first woman to head the country's Citizenship by Investment unit. Her appointment as CEO took effect on 27th of March 2017. Prior to this appointment, Ms. Donovan served in the CIU in 3 prominent capacities: Chief Compliance, Chief Operating Officer, and Acting Chief Officer. I'm sure she does many other roles apart from just being the chief. I've seen her constantly working at the unit very hard to make sure they cater to the audience and the applicants. She's also a chartered director and fully qualified anti-money laundering specialist. After Ms. Donovan, you'll hear from Ms. Verlin Faustin. A number of you have obviously had the pleasure of having one-to-one meetings with Ms. Faustin. She holds a Bachelor of Laws degree, honors from the University of West Indies, a postgraduate certificate in Public International Law from the Hague Academy of International Law, a Masters of Law degree in Corporate Commercial Law from the University of West Indies. Very, very legal orientated, very trustworthy. And also after Ms. Faustin, you'll hear from Mr. Brian Stuart-Young, CEO of Global Bank of Commerce, a position he has held for several years and has supervised the growth and development of the financial institutions and related group of companies involved in financial services. In addition to board of responsibilities, he manages the corporate head office and oversees all the strategic relations for the banking group. So firstly, we're going to start off with Ms. Charmaine Donovan. We have you here live. Thank you so much. And you look amazing as usual. Can we...
You're too kind, Sam. Thank you very much. It really is a pleasure to be a part of this important webinar, and I'd really like to thank your many clients who have logged in today to hear more about the wonderful opportunity that Antigua and Barbuda has to offer.
Excellent, excellent. So my first question to you, please give us a brief overview of the Antigua and Barbuda Citizenship by Investment Program.
Sure, thank you. I'm happy to do that. The Antigua and Barbuda Citizenship by Investment Program is just about 8 years old. It was established by legislation in April 2013. In August of that same year, the Citizenship by Investment Unit was established to administer the legislation and accept and review applications for citizenship, applications to become a licensed agent, applications to be an authorized representative, and the many other activities that are associated with running this program. The government at the time was seeking viable options, viable alternatives to obtain foreign direct investments for Antigua and Barbuda, because as you know, the global financial crisis of 2008 really hit everybody a very difficult blow. And Antigua and Barbuda, not having much national resources other than our beautiful beaches, the perennial sunshine, and and the lovely people, we needed to become really creative as to how we'd be able to continue to support the economy. I'm happy to say that the program has been extremely successful over the past 8 years. We have received in excess of 3,000 applications, which of course are either individual applications or applications with family members. So we have processed in excess of 2,000 persons through this program. And we look forward to processing more and inviting additional persons to take up this wonderful opportunity. We're not hearing you, Sam. I think you're muted.
Bear with me. Sorry, I've unmuted myself because I wanted to make sure everyone gets the privilege of hearing you. Okay. So I have another question for you. We have been advised that the National Development Fund is the fastest and most affordable route to obtaining an Antigua and Barbuda citizenship. Why is that?
Okay. Really happy that you asked that question. Well, when we look at the statistics from the inception of the program until now, we see that in excess of 75% of the applications come through the National Development Fund. So you are correct, it is the most sought after option out of the 4 that we have. When we really dig down to see the true reason behind of it, it is because it is the most affordable option in the region as well. And it is hassle-free because all you do is submit your application. The other options normally require you to have a sale and purchase agreement. So there are other steps that are required with the other options. So persons who are not inclined to have additional investments in the country, they just need a second citizenship, would choose this route. Really attractive, as I said. And so this is why we believe that persons go for the National Development Fund in relation to the other 3 options that are available.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ms. Donovan, for explaining the National Development Fund. What are the other investment options available under the Antigua and Barbuda Citizenship by Investment Program? You've explained to us the NDF, and what else is available?
Okay, so we have a total of 4 investment options. Before I tell you about the other 3, I wanted to give the investment requirement for the National Development Fund option. So persons who are successful with the National Development Fund option are required to submit an investment of $100,000, and that is for a family of 4. The processing fees associated with that that option is $25,000. As a matter of fact, processing fees across the board are $25,000, with the exception of the University of the West Indies Fund, which I will explain a little later on. So in terms of the National Development Fund, a one-time contribution of $100,000 for a family of 4 or less. And if you have a family of 5 or more, the investment contribution is $125,000, and the processing fee increases by $15,000 for each additional family member in the application. So let's speak about the other 3 investment options. We have the University of the West Indies option, which is an opportunity to make a contribution to the 5th landed campus of the University of the West Indies. The University of the West Indies, the 3 main campuses are in Barbados, Trinidad, and Jamaica. So Antigua and Barbuda is the only Leeward Island chain, island in the Leeward Island chain that has been afforded the opportunity to have such a prestigious university here. And so the government decided that it will be a really great opportunity for persons to be able to invest in the education of Antiguans as a whole, including those persons who are successful through this program. And it provides a unique opportunity for anyone in the application, anyone in the family who is of university age, to be able to attend the university tuition free for 1 year. With that option, you pay a one-time fee of $150,000, and that includes the processing fee. So you're not required to give an additional $30,000, sorry, processing fee. I need to correct myself. I said 25,000 initially. It is really 30,000 across the board. My apologies. So with the University of the West Indies Fund, again, a one-time payment, $150,000, which includes the processing fees. Then if you want to make further investment in the country, you have the real estate option. And what is unique about the Antigua and Barbuda investment program is that we offer 3 pathways to be able to invest in a real estate property. So you can either purchase the unit outright for an investment amount of $400,000, at least $400,000, it could be more. You can also partner with a family member. So you have 2 applications for that particular real estate development option, and each person contributing $200,000 each. So that's a total of $400,000. Or more recently, we have created a 3rd pathway where someone could purchase a unit outright for $200,000. Again, the processing fees are $30,000 across the board. And then the final option is the investment in business option. And this allows entrepreneurs to either create their own business here in Antigua and Barbuda or invest in an existing business. The investment amount for that is $1.5 million for one single investor. And if you have a group of investors coming together, the minimum investment is $5 million, with each person contributing at least $400,000. We have many opportunities to invest in a business, and we have a number of sectors that are available for development. We have agro-processing, we have agriculture, manufacturing, and a host of other sectors that are ripe and ready for investment. So these are the 4 investment options available. I think it's pretty exciting, and the options are a real value for your investment.
Thank you. It's so exciting. I'm really glad you mentioned on the entrepreneurs side, because there's a lot of entrepreneur and business people who've actually joined the webinar. So you've been very innovative and creative in the program. Is there any latest developments or any latest updates you'd like to add to our audience, apart from what you've identified just now?
Sure. Well, what we're most excited about right now is the expansion to the definition of dependents. So last year, we announced that you can now include your siblings as part of your family. You can also include your children's children, so your grandchildren. You can also include your children's spouses. So it really makes it a lot more flexible in terms of which family members you can include. So most recently, we also expanded the age group for your dependent child. So prior to last year, the maximum age for the dependent child was 28. We've expanded that to 30. Prior to last year, the minimum age for parents and grandparents who could be added to the application or included in the application was 58. We've now decreased that to 55. So what it makes now is we realize that Antigua and Barbuda seemed to have positioned itself as the program of choice for families. And so we wanted to ensure that we are able to allow persons to include as many members of the family as possible in their application. That really has given a buzz in the market, and we are seeing quite a number of applications coming in now with larger family sizes. And with the UE option, which is the best value proposition for large families, the minimum number of persons in an application for that option is 6. And so we're finding more and more that persons are submitting applications under the UE investment option, because again, when you juxtapose it across all of the offerings in the region and even internationally, it really is very attractive, very affordable. Additionally, when we first started the program, there was a residency requirement of 5 days over the first 5 years of obtaining citizenship. And the intention was really to get the new citizen familiar with their country. And we have actually received a lot of positive feedback from persons who have had to visit the country about how beautiful the country is. And as a matter of fact, some persons who are successful applicants have moved to the country, and some, even though they would have applied under the national investment option, have found properties in Antigua and Barbuda and purchased subsequently. So it was always really a beautiful feature of the program. However, of course, we are a very flexible program, and we understand how difficult it would be for persons to travel to Antigua and Barbuda to honor that requirement. And so the government has suspended that requirement to visit the country for the 5 days up until the end of August 2022. So for the next year, persons are not required to visit Antigua in order to renew their passport, because there are a number of persons who would have come up on the 5th year of citizenship, and of course now would like to renew their passports. The residency requirement was one of the features we were looking at when we're looking at the renewal of your passport. But because of the pandemic, we're actually not sure how long we will be, undergoing the pandemic. But the good thing is that human beings have a remarkable ability of adjusting. And so we become flexible and creative as to how we can still serve our clients. And the last thing I wanted to tell you about is how innovative we have become in allowing persons to swear the oath of allegiance or affirm their allegiance to the country. Prior to the pandemic, persons, of course, when they visit for the 5 days, they will swear their oath in person in front of a notary public. Now, we have expanded that to allow persons to swear their oath virtually. So you can still, those persons who are able to visit Antigua can still come to Antigua to have that connection and swear their oath, or they can utilize any embassy or representative office of Antigua and Barbuda that is closest to them. Or if they're not able to find an embassy or representative office, they can swear their oath virtually. Of course, the unit facilitates that with the help of a notary public in their jurisdiction or one in our jurisdiction, because we are aware that there are some jurisdictions whose notaries are not permitted to assist them to swear an oath to another country. And so we provide that opportunity. So what I really would like your audience to take away from this is that the Antigua and Barbuda program is extremely flexible. Our ears are always on the ground, and we listen to the needs of our clients.
Excellent. Look, it's trending a lot. I'm seeing an increase of attendees, and with your innovative ways of thinking in terms of extension of family, that really helps the market from Africa, because they ask a lot of questions about siblings and family members, and also about travel. So this is amazing. So you're obviously taken into account with all the current situation. So my follow-up question to that is, what percentage of applications have you received from the African continent? Because we speak to a lot of, especially Nigeria. what do you think has been the driving force for Nigerian applicants?
Okay. So when we look at our statistics from the inception of the program, we're seeing that just under 20% of those applications are from the African continent. So several different African states out of the applications we've received so far. When we look at the African states as a whole, Nigeria is the one that stands out most, capturing at least 30% of those applications. Take a look at 2021 alone. So from January to date, we have actually received 70 applications from the African continent in total. And that represents 31.4% of our applications to date so far. And of the African applications, Nigeria represents 53% in 2021 alone. What would we say account for that? We have recognized that, that the African continent is a really great opportunity for us. We share so many similarities in terms of culture, food, love for family, the need for spiritual growth. There are lots of similarities between us in the Caribbean, particularly Antigua, and persons from the African continent. And so we have actually been targeting some promotional activities to the African continent. And I am aware that our agents and authorized representatives have been doing the same. And we are actually very grateful for this opportunity to share more with your African audience of these wonderful opportunities that exist here with the Antigua and Barbuda program. So, and we've had a long history of relationship with the African continent. A number of us, through genealogy, if we trace back our roots, we find them in Africa, in Nigeria in particular. And so there is this invisible bond, if you will, between Antigua and Africa. And guess what? Both states start, that continent and our country start with the letter A.
Yeah, so true, so true. And I guess the African nations are really waiting to have you come over with a delegation and see them face to face.
Oh, I'd love to do that. I would definitely love to do it. I can't wait.
Trisha, we'll hold you to that, because we're desperately trying to organize a trip over, but because of the restrictions, it's been very difficult in these times. Excellent. So my next question to you is, high net worth individuals have always attached great importance to privacy issues, especially the continents that we have a number of registrations from. How does the program ensure the privacy of applicants?
Okay, that's a very good question. Of course, if you're expending that level of investment, you want to ensure that your information stays confidential. And that's really one of the hallmarks, one of the pillars on which this program stands. We pay very close attention to keeping persons' information private. When the program started at first, there was a requirement in the legislation for us to publish the names of all of the new citizens. But in the government's wisdom, they realized that it really was a security risk for all of these new citizens, and quickly removed that requirement. So even before we received our first application, that was corrected. And that is testimony to our understanding and our respect for persons' need for privacy. Additionally, of course, in the due diligence process, we engage third-party entities, and we do not relate to any entity that does not have sound confidentiality agreements in place. And those who have, their staff actually have to have a strong sense of privacy and confidentiality. We also value highly ensuring that we do our robust checks on each applicant that comes to our program. But at the same time, we are mindful that we really need to ensure that people can feel safe and secure while going through this process. Thankfully, we've never had an issue where persons feel that their private information have leaked out, and that is because, as I said before, we pay very keen attention to this, and we want to ensure that people can continue to feel confident while interacting with the program. Sam, I lost you there.
Sorry, yep, I'm here. I just think everyone's more interested in listening to you than listening to me. So I just want to mute myself. No, you've touched on something which is very important in terms of, the due diligence, in terms of the privacy, because a lot of people are very concerned. And with all these changes, it's just credit to you constantly engaging with the audience and making sure the program adjusts to a lot of investors' needs. What benefits can the CBI program provide for African entrepreneurs and senior citizens? As I mentioned, we have a lot of people here that are entrepreneurs, that are very innovative and very creative, and also senior citizens. What are the benefits for them?
So as I said before, Antigua and Barbuda and the African continent, we have like an invisible thread connecting us. And there are a number of business opportunities here for the entrepreneur. We have opportunities in manufacturing, we have opportunities in agriculture, we have opportunities in aquaculture, lots of opportunities for the business-minded investor. Additionally, because our cultures bear some similarity, I think the African investor will find Antigua and Barbuda a natural fit. For the senior citizens who are looking for retirement options, they will find Antigua to be tranquil, very family oriented, very warm, and our medical facilities are equal to or on par with the first world countries, sorry, and the facilities available to them. We actually have a cancer treatment facility here where persons from the neighboring islands actually come and do chemotherapy and whatever treatment that is needed for whatever stage of cancer they have. We've actually successfully completed a few kidney transplants in Antigua and Barbuda. And this is just to show you the level of medical care, healthcare that you can access in Antigua and Barbuda. So in Antigua and Barbuda, there's something for everyone. Even the keen investor who would like to move his family to Antigua and Barbuda, we have educational options that are on par with and even exceed what you get in the international arena. We have an international school here that offers primary to tertiary level education. I could sit here and speak a lot about what Antigua has to offer, but I think what has worked best for us is persons coming and experiencing firsthand. So I invite you, my African family, to come on down to Antigua and see what it is that we have to share with you. We're excited to receive you.
And I'm surprised you haven't mentioned the skill sets that you have in the cricketing in the world as well.
That's what I'm saying. We're multifaceted. There's something for everyone in Antigua and Barbuda. There's something for everyone. Excellent. We're small, but I think that we really should be proud of where we are, given our small size in landmass as well as our small size in population. We're just about 100,000 persons, but you would never know it once you step on our shores because you feel as if you're in some metropolitan country, state.
And credit to the Prime Minister when we had the outburst of COVID, how you were able to handle all the beds and you had a full-on recovery system and the ventilation. It was just phenomenal.
This is what I said to you about Antigua and Barbuda. We're really, really flexible. Our ears are always on the ground, and we're constantly innovating ways to be able to deliver our superior service to our clients while still operating and ensuring everything goes well.
I know we have a lot of questions. Please be patient because we do have other presenters and we will be answering all your questions, or we'll try to answer all your questions after the presentation. So, Charmaine, in terms of what can we expect from the unit and the program in the next 12 to 24 months? What can we expect?
I can tell you that what we're working on now is increasing our efficiency. We are already surpassing what the legislation requires. The legislation requires that we provide a response to an application within 90 days, that's 3 months. On average, we are responding within 8 weeks and less. And so what we're in the next 12 months, we'll be focusing on increasing that efficiency even further. And what we can promise you is that we're going to continue to listen to you, to hear your needs, and be able to tailor the program such that it can meet and surpass what your expectations are. You will continue to receive the superior customer service that you have become to you have associated Antigua with, the Antigua and Barbuda program with, and just ensuring that we cater to your needs. Sam, I think your audience want to listen to the other presenters. I mean, I know they love to hear my voice, but I'd also like to give my colleagues an opportunity to share a piece of the pie, which is at the lovely Antigua and Barbuda.
Antigua is all about sharing, which is
amazing. That's right.
So, it's about sharing. So with that, so I'll what I'll do now is I will obviously go into our next speaker, but please, Ms. Donovan, if you can stay around for the Q&As, because there's a lot of questions popping up, and just keep on typing in your questions. And of course, we have a number of questions coming up from Facebook as well. So we'll start on the next speaker. So just bear with us.
Sure.
Thank you, Charmaine. We're going to start next.
Thank you very much for the lovely opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Charmaine, for such a kind introduction. It is such a pleasure to work with you and the others in the program. And I'm looking forward to, just hanging out with you on this live webinar. Thank you again. My name is Verlyn Foston. I am a licensed agent of the Citizenship by Investment program in Antigua and Barbuda. I will tell you what that means in a few minutes, but first, I just want to let you know for how long I have been doing this. You would have heard that the program started in 2013. I have been licensed to work in this business since 2013. And so since 2013 to now, I have been a very active licensed agent. That means I have helped hundreds of individuals and families to become citizens of Antigua and Barbuda. One of the benefits of having an Antigua and Barbuda citizenship is the opportunity to be in paradise whenever you want to. I am based in Antigua, and I can tell you that this place is paradise. It is beautiful, like you wouldn't imagine. And I would just advise you, as long as you can, given time and given restrictions, come visit. And you will find that I'm right, that this place is paradise. And so yes, paradise starts here. Why would you want a second citizenship? I have met quite a number of you on this platform already, and you've told me some of your reasons. And I suspect that if you're here, that you would have thought about it. But some of the reasons include visa-free travel for sure. Some people are looking to migrate because of security concerns, because of health concerns, and retirement options. So whatever your reasons are, we are here to help you to help you achieve your goal of an alternative citizenship. Now, what does a licensed agent do? A licensed agent is the individual who is licensed by the government to submit an application for citizenship by investment and to advise you properly on all aspects in relation to your application. So what are the roles and functions of the licensed agent? The licensed agent will help you to prepare your applications from start and will walk you through the process until you receive your certificate of citizenship and your passport. So we will look at the forms, we will help you with the forms, we'll vet the forms, we will help you with completion, and we will help you with supporting documents. We'll advise you as to whether or not such and such a document is appropriate. Will it be accepted, whether it is to be apostilled, whether it is to be notarized. We will help you with that. We will give you the information that you need. And once we have a look at your application and we say that you are good to go, then we will submit the application on your behalf. Having submitted the application on your behalf, we will then follow up with the unit until you get to the point where you have an approval letter, and then you get to the passport stage where you are then issued your certificate of citizenship and your passport. Now, in between there, the unit would most likely have some queries. And so we will liaise with the unit to ensure that everything that is required by them to process your application is submitted on a timely basis. If they would require some further clarification on your employment, for example, they would tell us and we would convey it to you, and we would submit the information to fill in any gaps. That is in essence, the summary of what a licensed agent does. A licensed agent can also be an authorized representative, and by that I mean an international promoter. And Civis Mundi is such, so that what does an international promoter do? An international promoter is licensed by the government to promote the program. This is the Citizenship by Investment Program, the CIP, beyond the shores of Antigua. So yes, we also do that. And yes, we're also a licensed agent. So we welcome you to submit your applications with us. So you're an investor and you're looking at a Citizenship by Investment program, and you've come to me and you've asked me, what is my advice? My advice to you would be to apply Antigua and Barbuda. Why? Because when you look at it, Antigua and Barbuda has the strongest passport in the OECS region. We have about 165 visa-free countries. It is a relatively easy process we can walk you through. My job as a licensed agent is to take out the pain from the process and to make it as seamless for you as possible. So my advice to you is send in that application. Let us have a look at it. Let us submit it. I think that is really my advice to you. Apply, and apply as soon as you can. Now, having gotten you're at the stage where you have this citizenship, you have your passport, you have your certificate. What service can I offer you? What else can I do for you? I'm sure that at some point you're going to ask me, as a lot of people do, okay, so how do we get an ID in Antigua? Then I can help you with that. Getting you your national driver's license. you want a police certificate, I can tell you how to obtain that. You want to come here and you want to be shown around the place, I can assist with that. There's a concierge service that we can take you around and show you what are the highlights of our beautiful country. And you will, once you come here, we'll have you sworn in as a citizen. That's very important within the first 5 years that you be sworn in, so that your renewal process becomes very smooth. The other things that we can do for you, we can, if you need whatever assistance that you need, we will see how we can help you. If you need advice on other matters like legal advice, I think you're at the right place. We can connect you to the people who can help you once you become a citizen. And thank you for listening to me. Now it is my pleasure to introduce you to Mr. Brian Stuart-Young. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the Global Bank of Commerce. Banking is so important, it's a very important infrastructure in the investment immigration business. And I will hand over to Mr. Stuart-Young to tell you what his bank offers. Mr. Stuart-Young, take it away.
Hello, and thanks to the BLS media for having us here, and also greetings to our viewers around the world. If you've been examining the opportunity of a second citizenship in Antigua and Barbuda, then you should also consider establishing a banking relationship in Antigua. As an example, let me introduce you to Global Bank of Commerce and tell you a little bit about me and the institution. I'll explain why it is worthwhile to consider a banking relationship and how simple it can be to establish an account. I'll also discuss the benefits of demonstrating an economic relationship from a new citizenship role perspective. About myself, I've been the CEO for more than 25 years at Global Bank of Commerce. 25 years is a lifetime in financial terms. And I'm proud to say that some of our accounts are now held by the second generation of family members. Banking has also changed significantly in terms of its online services, wealth management type products, and a multifaceted payment service. At Global Bank, we are continuously striving to meet the lifestyles of our clients, and indeed, the communities that we serve. Global Bank is considered as the grandfather of international financial services in Antigua and Barbuda, having been licensed since April 1983. We are a Caribbean bank, but we carry a global vision and are forever tailoring our financial services to meet client demands. We have also been innovative with our FinTech hub and the development of new products, such as the Real Estate Investment Trust, a REIT. We're proud to be the first Caribbean nation to actually have legislated for the REIT service. And this can provide investment opportunities and also become qualified by the CIU authority as a real estate option for your citizenship. Second citizenships have become a part of the investment portfolio of many global-minded individuals and families. But as we know, the regulatory goalposts and international compliance standards are continuously changing. So it becomes relevant if new citizens can demonstrate an economic connection to their new home jurisdiction. And holding a bank account and considering local investments in real estate goes a long, long way to enhance and validate the economic substance associated with your citizenship. In addition, if you have a real estate investment in Antigua and Barbuda, then you will invariably have the need for banking services. If you're opening an account, I can assure you it's a relatively straightforward service, and you can find account opening information online, which will speak to these documents. If you need further information, please don't hesitate to contact us. Antigua and Barbuda is known as a premier tourism destination, boasting some of the most beautiful beaches to be found anywhere in the world. But it is also a politically stable jurisdiction and serves the purposes for business and banking services. And as a CIP citizen, you will also be able to have a tax-neutral environment for your international business. Whilst it is a top tourism destination, that makes it easily accessible via air and sea, thereby making it a perfect location for business and for pleasure. If you are exploring businesses or real estate options for your investment into a second citizenship, our bank provides multi-currency accounts, which may better suit your investment transactions. Our online banking services are safe and secure, enabling you to fully manage your account anywhere and anytime across the globe. We can offer local and international wealth management options, including real estate investment trusts that are independently supervised by our Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulatory Commission, and for which you will be able to obtain investment units in some attractive developments that are taking place. These development projects would seek approval to be CIP approved projects and therefore become a real estate option to let you qualify for your citizenship. As a new citizen, holding a local banking relationship, we are sure that it will prove to be very practical for you. The bank has relationships with major Tier 1 investment brokers and can assist in managing international securities for your portfolio. Our Global Bank of Commerce stands ready to assist your path to citizenship. We already host accounts for several CIP agents and for the CIU Authority and the government's National Development Fund, as well as holding accounts for certain real estate investment options. So in this way, we can help you to reach your citizenship objective and also your lifestyle financial goals. We really do appreciate this opportunity to introduce our institution. Please visit our website and don't hesitate to contact us should you need other information. Thank you very much.
So we have a number of questions. Can everyone see the questions on their chats? Ms. Foslin, Ms. Young, can you see all the questions that are popping up?
Yes, I can.
Excellent. Okay. So the first question that we have is, how diverse is Antigua and Barbuda, and is there a market to be an estate surveyor and a valuer? Who would like to answer that question? How diverse is Antigua and Barbuda?
I can handle that question, it's not a problem. Antigua and Barbuda is extremely diverse. We have practically all of the cultures represented here. We have persons of African descent. We have persons of Indian descent. So we are a very diverse nation, and as a result, we have a blend of cultures. You're able to get different cuisines from the different cultures, and so anyone would actually feel comfortable fitting in Antigua. Additionally, Antigua has had a long history of being in the tourism industry, so we are very accustomed to dealing with persons of different persuasions, different people from different cultures, and people who have different tastes. I think that also makes us as warm and friendly as we are. In terms of the specific questions of an opportunity for being a surveyor or a valuator, was the question. Yes, we do have these opportunities. We have surveyors and valuators here in Antigua and Barbuda, but as we see that our economy is expanding, I'm sure that we have opportunities for additional persons here.
Okay, I'm seeing a lot of questions in terms of cryptocurrency, and perhaps the speakers here can answer this. Firstly, do you accept cryptocurrency for the program? Is income from investment from cryptocurrency accepted as a source of funds for the application? And are there any plans to accept donation payment in cryptocurrency? So perhaps we know clear from a banking point of view as well as from a government's point of view.
Okay, so I'll take a stab first and then I'll allow Mr. Stuart-Young to continue. Regarding the specific question as to whether we accept cryptocurrencies to the program, right now we do not have the infrastructure in place to accept, but we allow persons who have been able to procure their wealth through cryptocurrency to apply to the program, as long as you're able to show us the source of the income before it gets into the crypto environment. So you show us what you were able to do to amass your wealth in order to buy the cryptocurrency, and then you show us your crypto portfolio, and we're able to make the necessary verifications through the regular due diligence process, then yes, you're eligible to apply with that being your source of income or your source of wealth. We are actively working with the government to be able to allow persons to apply using cryptocurrency, but we're not quite there yet, and I'm not able to provide you with an estimated timeline at this time. But I'll allow Mr. Stuart-Young, because I know that he has been actively working on some solutions for his bank as well. So Mr. Stuart-Young, please go ahead.
Certainly, thank you. And we fully understand in Antigua that cryptocurrency has become part of the financial evolution, and we expect ourselves to participate in it. As a matter of fact, the government has taken modern legislation to Parliament and approved the ability to establish exchanges that will be regulated here in Antigua. As Charmaine points out, at this time, all of our banks are basically controlled for the revenue flow of transactions by correspondent banks. So it isn't that our own banks would not wish to be able to give support to the cryptocurrency services, but if our correspondent bank does not permit it, then it has difficulty coming through. But as Charmaine points out, it is active. This is a moving target, and we are working continuously on developing relations that we hope will improve this opportunity to be able to work with international exchanges, have exchanges from them come to our exchanges, and have our banks even domestically be able to work with it. Why I say that it is something that we are working towards. For example, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank itself has been one of the, I think at this moment, one of the three central banks in the world that has developed a program for an Eastern Caribbean digital dollar. It's in its trial phase at this time, but the commitment, both from a regulatory perspective to be able to use digital assets, as well as from a commercial application, both in terms of payments and investments. It is a matter of completing the circle with relationships that will permit this. So as Charmaine says, right now, we're not doing it. Do we plan to? Yes, we do. Once we can do it in a straightforward, legal, and transparent manner. And we will achieve that. Thank you.
Thank you. We have another question. It's regarding the NTF. Perhaps Ms. Foston can answer this. It's from Daniel Nadeau. If I exercise the option for NTF, and can I open up and invest in a business venture? Is there a minimum investment for a business venture?
Well, according to the, if it's going to be used as an option, then yes, it's either a real estate option, I think Charmaine would describe, or it's a business option. Charmaine, I'll let you come take that.
If you've already done the National Development Fund and you've obtained your citizenship, that is what I get from the question, and the person can tell me if I'm correct. But once you're a citizen and you've come here, you are free to open a business, and there are no restrictions whatsoever.
That is correct. You are allowed, because you're a regular citizen. Once you are successful through this program, you have the same rights and privileges as a native-born Antiguan and Barbudan. And so you can establish your business, you can purchase a home here. You know, there are no restrictions as to what you can do as a citizen.
Once it's legal.
Well, that's correct. The only issue you may have is to be able to vote, because currently the electoral legislation requires that you reside here for 1 month before you register to vote. And so that may be the only challenge you may have if you're not living here. It may be difficult to vote remotely if you have not been able to satisfy that criteria.
So we have another question. I think we've had a number of conversations with this investor in terms of other options, and we, Charmaine, and when we talked about the health tourism, this is an investor from South Africa. If they do get the citizenship, what opportunities are available for health professionals? Because we've seen a huge outbound migration, especially from South Africa, from the health sector, especially doctors and physicians.
So there are a number of opportunities for healthcare workers, for medical practitioners in Antigua and Barbuda. As I said, our healthcare facilities are on par with those of first world countries. And so, and historically, we've actually invited, welcomed persons, medical practitioners from different countries. We've seen a number of persons from India, medical practitioners from India, Africa, Cuba, and all over the world. So there are a number of opportunities for persons who have that background to be able to live and work in Antigua and Barbuda.
I can also add, please, what we see from the investment side is that there's a strong investment interest that has been coming in the health sector. There are some investors that are looking to be able to develop a medical city. There are others that are looking to develop wellness centers, and there we already have a stem cell center here, and there will be others trying to bring more innovative types of medicine services into Antigua. So if you keep your ear on the pulse, I think you will find that in the next year, there will be growing opportunities within the medical side. even our university has been developing for the School for Nursing, and Antigua is among some of the Caribbean nations that in fact ends up exporting nurses to the US and to the UK. Thank you.
Excellent. So we have a number of questions in terms of documentations. I guess this is where the license agent and Ms. Foston will play a pivotal role in terms of what documents are needed for the citizenship, and in terms of for business, for starting up a business, and then eventually moving on to a business account. Ms. Foston, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
I saw a question. Do I need an original birth certificate or copies for submission? Certified copies, please. And if you are from a place that has signed the Hague Convention for apostille documents, then you would require a birth certificate and a few other documents to be apostilled as well. If you're from Nigeria, that does not apply.
Okay. Perhaps there's a question on taxation. What's the current taxation from a personal business taxations? What are the current taxations in Ireland?
From a personal standpoint, there is personal income tax in Antigua is at 0%.
Mm-hmm.
We do have corporate tax. The corporate tax rate is at the 25%, Mr. Stuart-Young, 25%.
But if you are earning, if your business is external, then it'll be neutral. In other words, the taxes are applied on the business that you do and the revenue that you earn in Antigua. If you establish a business that is providing services externally and earning externally, then I think Carolyn will confirm that would be neutral.
That's correct.
And is there a tax on worldwide income?
No, there isn't.
No.
Okay, so we have another question in terms of a digital nomad visa. Would anyone like to answer that question?
Well, I would add that it's an option that the government proposed after noting the impact of the pandemic and persons working from home. And if you're going to work from home, then you could have the option of applying for a nomad visa, which will allow you to operate out of Antigua. Now you won't be you'll be working from Antigua, but you won't be working for Antiguan companies. You do have to continue doing and earn your revenue externally, but you can live here with a resident visa and enjoy all of those benefits. So, whereas at the time that with the pandemic there was less tourism, this option became popular because it does fill rooms, accommodation, and such like, and it has been very healthy. I am aware that you can do that application online. You can make payments online for that visa, and a fairly straight-through process that can be conducted.
Okay, I know some of the investors are asking for some of the contact details. This will be available on demand, as well as the speakers will have access to your emails and they will be in touch. I think we have another few questions in terms of Africans retiring in Antigua and Barbuda. Are you seeing a lot of trends? What trend are you seeing from the African nations?
I think if I could just say, we recently had a delegation from Nigeria that came in just early this week, and we're discussing the opportunity for air routes running from Nigeria to Antigua. So that is something that is very topical with us. I also had a Nigerian visitor that provides software to the majority of major banks in Nigeria and elsewhere in Africa, and we are looking to collaborate with that person. So there is an interest in both services as well as trade and commerce. And once those flights start to come, I think that it will open up even greater avenues for us.
Okay.
Yes, as I touched on earlier, in terms of the number of applications we're receiving, we're seeing that there's growing interest, because for this year alone, we have received 31% of the applications that we've received in total from the African continent. And of that 31%, 53% represents applications from Nigeria. So clearly there is the increased appetite to try Antigua and Barbuda, because I do believe too that there are a number of successful applicants who have been providing positive feedback about the program. I know of at least 2 families who have moved to Antigua and Barbuda since they have achieved the citizenship, and they have settled in society. I think their children are attending the same school as my children. So I mean, it really is a wonderful option and opportunity for Nigerians.
Excellent. We have a legal question. Hi, my name is Oyedeji. Was rejected a visa for the US under the Trump travel ban. I guess this is Nigeria, when Trump made that announcement to do a travel ban. Would that have an impact on my application? Perhaps Ms. Foston, you'd like to answer that. It seems to be a legal question, as well as we'll put the question to the government as well.
My advice is to please disclose it. It does not bar you from applying, because the legislation says that in order for you to be eligible, you must have not had a rejection from a country with which we have a visa-free relationship. That does not apply to the US, but we would need to know the circumstances under which you were denied. And that particular fact needs to be disclosed before it can cause complications on your submission.
Okay.
So I don't have anything to add, because Merlin gets an A for that answer. I'm happy to hear. Wow, Merlin.
Excellent. Would you like to add anything to that, or you're happy with that answer?
No, she has covered everything. I'm just so proud. I'm proud.
Okay. We have a number of questions in terms of the approval times and the processing times, and is there any delays, and what's been done to potentially fast track this? I know you've touched bases. Perhaps Ms. Verlin, you can, give us a bit of an explanation what documents you need, what is helpful in order to process this correctly, and obviously from a government's point of view, what are they doing to speed up the approvals or the process itself?
I can give you a very brief snapshot about the documents that are required. You need your basic identification documents and certified copies, please. So you'll have your passport, your driver's license, your national IDs. You'd need your police clearance certificates. That's from any place that you've lived in for 6 months or more, as well as any countries of which you're a citizen. Then we require source of funds documents. You need your employment letters. You need your corporate documents if you're an entrepreneur. and we need your bank statements and your audited financials, those sorts of things. So that is in a snapshot, in addition to the forms and an HIV test. That in itself is a snapshot of what is required. For more precise information, I suspect you would need some sort of consultation. Once that is done, then we would apply for you. In terms of timelines, the timelines are really dependent on the due diligence. And I think, Charmaine, you spoke to the investment, you spoke to the government application fee, but there is also a due diligence fee that we need to put in at this point. It's $7,500 for the principal applicant and his spouse, his or her spouse. It's $4,000 for every adult and $2,000 for every child 12 to 17. The due diligence process is a process that is independent of the unit. And whereas the unit tries to give you a timeline, it cannot be bound by the timeline because the due diligence companies, it really depends on the extent of the due diligence. And so if it is that you have particular circumstances which require individual attention, your matter would take longer. And something like, if you've lived, for example, in multiple jurisdictions, that is one area in which your matter might take longer. Or if you neglected to disclose something, it would take longer. And instead of having an approval letter at the end of the due diligence process, you would probably be asked for further documentation. So these are some of the things that you need to be aware of. I always recommend complete openness when submitting an application. It really reduces the time.
Yes, and if I might add, Verlin, you're spot on with your responses, because what we've found is that where people fail to submit adequate documentation or fail to disclose all of the relevant information, it really does prolong the processing of their application. I have seen, even in recent times, persons who would have provided full disclosure on their application forms and have provided all of the required documentation, and they're getting an approval in 6 weeks, 8 weeks. It really is dependent on how well you document your file, how forthcoming you are with the information. And as Verlin did say, it depends on the number of jurisdictions that you are affiliated with. Not only the number of jurisdictions you've lived in, but also if you have business affiliations in multiple jurisdictions, then of course the due diligence would need to cover multiple jurisdictions, and it then take the process a little longer. But as Verlin indicated, we really admonish you to be as honest as possible in your application, provide more information than we request even, and that really does help you to get a quick turnaround in your application.
So we're having a number of questions in terms of the real estate. How many approved projects are there? What is the what are you able to acquire at the 200,000? And some people have asked about the currency. It is in US dollars, and perhaps everyone can actually talk about the real estate and how many approved project developments are there, and what is the current investment level, and what are you seeing, and how does the banking get involved on the transactional side?
Okay, so perhaps I can take a stab at it first. The real estate applications we've received to date from the inception of the program represents about 16% of the total number of applications. We have in excess of 30 approved real estate development options available for persons. And at the 200,000 investment level, we have only few units available now, but this is because this is a recent pathway. This decision was taken only last year or late 2019. And so what you find now is that the real estate developers are actually building units at that price point. But you still have an opportunity at 200,000. You can join with a family member who will also provide 200,000, and you can invest in a real estate unit at 400,000 at the 400,000 investment level. So, I mean, there are a number of opportunities for you in real estate. Perhaps you joined a little late, so we spoke about the 3 pathways. Either you purchase a unit outright for 200,000, join with a family member for 400,000. The 2 of you put forward 200,000 each, or if you are so inclined, you can purchase a unit outright for 400,000. So I will let my colleagues add what they would like to that response.
I can add on one of the new real estate options that still has approval to come from the CIU, because it depends on which one. But Antigua and Barbuda is going to be the first country in the Caribbean, in the Caribbean community, to facilitate real estate investment trusts. Now, we have a 2020 investment act under which these trusts will come. I know that the government and the draftsman and the regulator of the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange have been finalizing the regulations that are now to be gazetted, which will allow another option, which still has to be reviewed by the CIU. But what it will do is that they will be real estate development projects, and when you purchase something into a let's say with the same 400,000 or the 200,000, what you get are units. Now you then become valid within a development project. You will have to hold that investment for a 5-year term, but then you could, at the end of that, sell. Now, the government has been very keen to see this type of real estate development take off, and our banking sector has been working with them, as well as with the Solicitor General's office, to try and get all of the facets completed. But I do believe when during the course of this year now, it will be one of the products that I think that the CIU will be happy to look at and let it participate within the mix of options under the real estate section.
Ms. Foslin, would you like to add something to that?
I think they've answered the questions. Nothing further to add.
Okay. I think we've got a lot of questions constantly coming up. Okay, yeah, I guess we was expecting this in terms of hurricanes and, you know, in the island and changing weather conditions. As you guys live and breathe in the island, perhaps you'd like to give a bit of outline in what you've seen and what you foresee later, and because people are asking questions in terms of how it would affect the hurricanes. When was the last hurricane, and has it affected the program?
The last hurricane would have been in 2017. That would have been Hurricane Maria. Mm-hmm. And it would have affected Barbuda, largely left the country, Antigua, the main country, unaffected. But whether or not, there's something I need to stress, and it applies equally to just about every Caribbean island, but particularly to Antigua. We're resilient people. We get knocked down by hurricanes, but we get up the next week, and we're back in the office working, and we help our neighbors. We assist you with putting up that roof that blew off. We assist you with whatever we can assist you with. We come together as a community. And before you know it, we're back on track as an island. Resilient.
And if I can add, because we have seen some hurricanes and we've weathered them, we've also learned from them. Antigua and Barbuda is probably one of the best prepared and resilient Caribbean islands relative to hurricanes. It's not that we take it easy, but our homes, even even many of the village homes, the smaller homes, have their shutters. They have their roofing done in a certain way. They know very well how everybody knows how to prepare and get ready in the passing of a hurricane. Our technical people, whether it be our for our electricity and our cell services and everything like that, know what to take down. We may have it out for a few hours, but it's back up again and running, and we've become quite resilient in dealing with hurricanes. I don't think there is the same level of panic that we see in many other places when difficult weather is approaching, because we have seen it, we know how to deal with it, and invariably we have prepared well for it.
Hi, sorry, can you hear me?
We have someone who's an investor who wants to ask a live question. Could you just bear with us while the answer, we complete the answer? Sorry, Ms. Donovan, carry on.
Yeah, so as I was saying, the only thing I would like to add is that because we have become accustomed to dealing with these storms, we are, by our sheer location in the Caribbean chain of islands, we are really on a hurricane belt. And so because you know that, you prepare yourself, people have adequate insurance coverage on their property and in the contents. And, you know,
generators.
Precisely.
A lot of generators.
That's right. And in terms of the building codes, because of past experience, the building codes have been strengthened so that you find that maybe 50 years ago, a hurricane passes through the country, it would cause more destruction than it would now because of the how strong the infrastructure is. The structure of the homes are much more resilient. And so we are much more prepared to weather the storm. That's all I'd like to add.
And our homes are largely built with concrete blocks.
Right.
So it's a stronger infrastructure.
Adequate amounts of steel.
Sorry?
And adequate amounts of steel.
And adequate amount of steel. Even our national housing that is doing lower income and middle income is also building to these standards now.
I can hear and feel the great unity when we talk about this topic between the Antigans.
We've all weathered the storm.
Weathered the storm, exactly. So in terms of payments, which is, can they pay in installments, or is it everything paid up front for the program?
Well, it's a one-time payment. It's not. We wouldn't say it's in installments. There is a percentage of the processing fees that you need to submit with your application, as well as the full due diligence fees, which Verlin so ably outlined before. And then once you have an approval, then you are required to pay in the balance of the processing fees and make the investment. So there's not an installment option, but I think that you know, we've been flexible enough to allow you to pay a portion at the beginning, and then once your application is successful, then you complete the transaction.
Okay, so we have a number of investors asking from Ghana. Please, the emails will be available to the speakers, and they will be in touch with you, especially from a legal point of view. Okay, there's a number of people that have joined late. They're asking about what other opportunities. I'm sensing, I don't know, I'm sensing a lot of African or investors that have registered here. They kind of want to see it as a second home, and they kind of want to expand their business exports. Is that the trend you're seeing, and what's the bank doing to help them?
Well, first of all, as we know, since the pandemic, the world has changed, trade is changing, the cost of transportation is going up, transportation is backing up in many of the lanes. Very soon, there are people predicting that in order for them to get goods and parts into the US, it can take a year. So we have to look at all of those shifting opportunities. Antigua has invested in making a major overhaul of its commercial port. And it has a very modern airport, and now it's about 3/4 way through in the reestablishment of its seaport. Now, it has a very good port for cruise ships, and it's a premier one. We're actually hoping to win an international review for our St. John's cruise port. But our commercial port will become a transshipment center. And I think that Antiguan and Barbudan business persons working with African persons, the ability to send and ship directly across to us, to be able to hold in a transshipment point of view, to be able to have the logistics that are needed, which will be all part of the port, to be able to reschedule and to re-export will be available. And it is time to talk business. So we certainly do encourage those that are becoming new citizens that have business investments elsewhere. Look at the opportunities in Antigua, and we believe that there can be a good blended mixture that will be a win-win situation for all sides. Sorry, you're on mute.
Sorry, yeah. I think everyone.
I'm sorry. May I please ask a question?
Okay, sorry. Introduce yourself and please ask the question because we're live here.
Yes, my name is Mohsen, and I am an investor. I'm very, very, very interested in this citizenship program, and I'm actually seriously thinking of going ahead with it. I just have one question. If I did the citizenship program, will I need a different visa in order to enter the US, or no?
So your question is, if you were able to successfully get an Antiguan and Barbuda citizenship, do you need another visa for the US?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
You will need passport itself requires a visa into the United States. So you will, all of us will carry, will apply through the U.S. Embassy for a visa to enter the U.S. So you still will need a visa. We're not visa free into the U.S. If you're an Antiguan citizen and you are interested in the United Kingdom, which I believe now that they're after Brexit is actually going to be seeking new opportunities and new business, then I think you do not need a visa. Certainly not at this time. You do not need a visa to be able to enter there as an Antiguan and Barbuda citizen. So if you wanted to find a place if you decided you wanted to educate your children elsewhere, I know a lot of people used to focus on educating in the United States. I think what will be happening now is that there'll be now more of a focus on maybe doing education into the United Kingdom, and then the parents will not have any difficulty going up to see the children there because it'll be visa-free to enter there. But for the United States, yes, visas will be required.
I'm seeing another question in terms of the UK. We mentioned visa-free to the UK. Are you allowed to set up a business with Antigua and Barbuda passport? Are you allowed to set up a business in the UK, or is it visa-free for a certain period of time?
Well, and as an Antiguan, you can go to the UK. You will be granted a 6-month entry usually. It does not permit you to work. That doesn't preclude you from, if you want to be able to register at the UK Companies House, a company or a business, you can do so. But if you want to operate that business in the United Kingdom, then you will have to get additional permissions from the UK government.
Okay. Is there any other questions that stand out? I think we've taken a lot of time here, but it just seems more questions are coming in. It seems like this has been question-heavy webinar, which is great.
One of the questions I saw, someone asked, I think I saw it twice, what is the exchange rate of the US? Well, we're pegged to the US dollar, and we have been since 1976. $2.70 Eastern Caribbean dollars will give you $1 US.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if we would like it. We have someone who's from an Afghanistani national based in Dubai. With the current situation over in Afghanistan and the Taliban, they've had their friends do actually process the Vanuatu passports, and they're having some difficulties getting support. What would be the stance from the government of Antigua and Barbuda if they went for the Caribbean passports and if they were in that kind of situation? So we've had investors that have done the Vanuatu passport. They haven't been able to get a support from the government as they're a citizen now of Vanuatu. What would be the stance with Antigua and Barbuda if they went for the Antigua and Barbuda program and they wanted to leave, for example, Afghanistan?
The requirement for an Afghani to apply to the program, they would need to actually be living outside of Afghanistan for at least 10 years in order to be eligible to apply. So persons who are actively living in Afghanistan are not able to apply to the program at this time.
That brings you to my next question. Which other countries are not allowed to apply for this wonderful program?
So all countries are allowed. It's just that some have a further requirement. So there are 7 countries. I named one: Afghanistan, you have Iran, Somalia, North Korea, Sudan, Yemen. For persons from these countries to apply to the program, they would need to be living outside of those territories for at least 10 years, outside of any of these countries that are on this list for at least 10 years, and have no business ties or financial ties with the country in order to be able to apply. So everyone can apply. It's just that persons from those territories would need to be living outside of the territory for at least 10 years. And be able to demonstrate that they are permanent resident of another jurisdiction.
Okay, so it can't be an Iranian that lives in Sudan.
Iran. No, you can't be an Iranian living in Sudan or Sudan or Somalia or Yemen or Afghanistan.
It's going to be both jurisdictions. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Speaking, is there any other questions that stand out? Because there is a lot more coming from Facebook, but I'm just trying to handle all the questions that we have on this platform.
So
Go ahead, Charmaine.
I was about to give an idea that given that you have so many questions, I'm so happy to see the level of interest in the Antigua and Barbuda program. Perhaps what you can do, because time may not permit us to answer all, you can send us the questions and we'll provide your response. You have their contact information and you can share it with them. That way we'll be able to cover everyone.
Yes, sure.
I think that makes sense. So apologies if we were not able to answer all your questions. We do have those questions. We are going to deploy a poll. I'm hoping it's going to be an amazing poll because the amount of questions that we've received. But it's only fair after a webinar that I ask the speakers to just give a final remarks and just potentially just any final comments just to finish off this wonderful webinar. So perhaps we start off as we started off with Ms. Donovan, then Ms. Faustin, and then Mr. Young, as we did on the presentation, because I do not want to be held responsible for, for giving someone preference.
No problem. Well, thank you very much. My parting comments would be I am indeed honored and very happy to have been afforded the opportunity to share a piece of our beautiful Antigua and Barbuda with you today and let you know the options available for you to invest or become a part of this beautiful rock. We look forward to welcoming you when your restrictions have been lifted. We look forward to accepting your applications. Our applications are now online, so you can speak to your licensed agent. Verlin is a licensed agent, as she indicated earlier. You can speak to your licensed agent and you can apply online. So it makes it so much easier to apply to this program. And you know, there are a number of exciting opportunities awaiting you in Antigua and Barbuda. All you need to do is to make the first step. So we look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thank you so much. Ms. Faustin.
I want to thank everybody here for their time. If you're tuning in from the continent, it's in the night. So I really want to thank you that you've really taken the time out to listen to us at this time. So thank you for your interest and all of those questions. I look forward to hearing your questions and responding to them. Look forward to your building up that interest that you have in this country. And we look forward to you applying to our citizenship program. And we look forward to welcoming you to these shores.
Excellent, thank you. And Mr.
I will just add, thank you very much for your keen interest and your questions. Antigua and Barbuda is an exceptional country. We have a very strong and positive economic climate, and our government has been extremely stable and progressive. We believe it's a good place for investment, and we would certainly welcome you that once you are a citizen, that there are opportunities that can be reviewed and discovered, and you can start to take part in the development that is also needed into some of the new areas that we are exploring. As you can see from just behind me, you see that blue sea, the blue economy? The blue economy for Antigua and Barbuda is a whole new area of opportunity that is available to us to develop. And those of you that know how to do it and can do it and can harness the various wonderful benefits of the blue economy, we are an ideal country for you. So please, talk to us, come to us. As far as my bank goes, look at our website, and any questions, we'll be happy to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. I think you guys broken a record in terms of keeping the registrants for such a long time. You know, I'm sure everyone's starving or hungry. It's quite late over there, but thank you so much. Please, we have your questions. A member of our team and of course the experts that we have here will be answering your question directly. So thank you for your time and your patience. God bless, and please enjoy your dinner. And thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, panelists, and please enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you
and
too.
thank you for very much welcoming our viewers to this webinar.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.